Just Stop Oil is threatening to disrupt this weekend's Pride in London parade over its main sponsor, United Airlines. The climate change activists have demanded clarity on Pride's sponsorships, asking that they make a statement calling for the end of new oil, as well as setting up a meeting for its volunteers to join the civil resistance. Well, joining me now is climate activist Anna Holland. Thanks very much indeed for talking to us this morning, Anna Holland. So Just Stop Oil published a list of demands ahead of today's Pride event in London, asking for clarity on sponsors, as we just said. Why did they do that to an event like Pride?
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me on. So I identify as non-binary and bisexual, and I went to my first ever Pride event last year. I attended Pride in London, and it's my first ever time going to an event that is supposed to be a celebration and honouring the incredibly brave people who lived, fought and died for our right to exist. All Pride has become is an extended advertising campaign for companies who think that just by putting a rainbow flag over their logo, we're going to forget that they are funding the fossil fuel industry, they're funding the government, they're funding the climate crisis, they're funding the biggest threat to humanity. So we want clarity from Pride on where they're getting their money from, because we've been in discussions with Pride ahead of this event, and we're aware that they have a lot of funding coming in and they're not telling us where it's coming from. But on top of that, we want Pride to release a statement demanding an end to all new oil and gas in the UK. And we want them to take part in facilitating education for all their volunteers and attendees in the very strong and very vibrant history of civil resistance that exists in the queer community.
You say you felt that it was just like a big marketing exercise. The organisers, certainly, and many people attending it might, well, we would say differently. Certainly the organisers, they would say it's an important event to raise awareness of LGBT plus issues, advocate for freedoms in what they call an increasingly hostile and unsafe world. They think it's a really important message and an important celebration as well, and will be frustrated if anyone tries to disrupt that.
Well, Pride simply isn't doing enough for the queer community. You know, what is a parade of advertisements from, as you say, United Airlines, from Barclays, from the military and the police? How is that going to help the 24% of transgender children who are homeless right now? When the climate crisis causes massive societal collapse, who do you think is going to suffer first? The already disproportionately homeless and suffering queer people, or everyone else who isn't part of the community? We need the Pride committee to come together to take action on the disproportionate suffering that is the queer community are being forced through right now.
So what kind of response have you had, and will a disruption go ahead today?
So we've had a meeting with a representative from the Pride committee so far, and we presented our demands to them. We gave them a designated amount of time to respond, and we've received no response from them. So we will be taking action to raise awareness of the fact that corporate pride does not represent us.
Are you worried that you will lose public support by targeting events like this, events like the Ashes earlier in the week? And do you not need public support to get behind your message?
You know, I think we will gain public support for raising awareness of the fact that corporate pride does not and has never represented the queer community. I've spoken to so many people, and especially so many older people in the community, who lived through the AIDS crisis, who lived through ACT UP and Outrage, who haven't attended the Pride Parade in 20, 30 years because they've been so disgusted by how corporate it's become. And on top of that, it's not about popularity, okay? Every single civil resistance movement in the past has been hated. All the queer activists who came before us were hated by the general public, but they fought through that and they still won the rights that are still being threatened today.
OK, well, Anna Holland, thanks very much indeed for your time. We appreciate you talking to us today. Thank you.
Thank you.